Is the Apostle John still alive and walking on this earth? Going to talk about it next on Pastor Bob's Coffee Break. Thank you once again for joining me today. Great question. Dear Pastor Bob, is it possible that John the Apostle is still alive and walking on the earth today? In the Bible, his death was never really mentioned. Maybe he died of old age, but it doesn't say. So it's not known for sure what happened to him. Maybe he's alive today, walking on the earth, waiting for the return of Jesus. What is your thinking on this? Interesting question. And the Bible doesn't talk about a lot of people in the Bible and how they died. Mostly talks about how they lived, unless there was some significance to their death. But you can assume that unless otherwise stated, as is the case of Jesus Christ and a couple others, that there was a birth, a life, and a death. You can assume that that cycle that God created is the cycle that all of us go on. So we know a few things about John. We know that he was exiled for his faith, and John wrote the book of Revelation. And here in Revelation chapter 1 and verse 9, it says, I, John, your brother and companion, your sharer and participator with you in the tribulation and kingdom and patient endurance, which we are in Jesus Christ, was on the Isle of Patmos, banished, on account of my witnessing to the word of God and the testimony of the proof, the evidence for Jesus Christ. So he tells us about this island, the island of Patmos. And we know that the Isle of Patmos was on the southern part of the Aegean Sea, and the authorities had sentenced him there to slave labor in the mines there. So we know that he was exiled for his faith. Now, the Bible doesn't give any details about how he died, but tradition gives us a few theories. The most plausible one, the theory of his death, followed a few things that should have killed him, actually. John was arrested in Ephesus. His enemies threw him in a huge basin of boiling water, and John was miraculously delivered from death there. Then the authorities sentenced him to slave labor, the mines of the Isle of Patmos. They assumed he would die there, and on that island, he had a vision of Jesus Christ and wrote the book of Revelation. But John the Apostle was later freed, probably because of old age, and tradition says that he returned to what is now Turkey and simply died of old age there, sometime after AD 98. The only apostle, by the way, to die peacefully. All of them died martyrs' deaths. And, if you want to read a great book about the martyrs of the faith, there's a book called Fox's Book of Martyrs, and it not only lists the apostles and how they died, but many others. And, of course, John knew a lot of persecution in his life as well. But, folks, we speculate on these things, and sometimes we want to read things into something that aren't necessarily there. Is it possible that John the Apostle might still be alive today? Well, knowing God, anything is possible. Is it probable? Absolutely not. You know, why would God take his heavenly reward away from him and make him wait all that time? You know, the greatest reward that any of us have is going to heaven and spending eternity with God. And I don't see God taking that away from John just to keep him here for 2,000 years, you know, for not any good reason. So, interesting question, but folks, what a legacy John left. What a legacy, and his ability to see the things that would happen later on was amazing. And, you know, this book of Revelation is just packed with things that are life-changing, as are the rest of the scriptures too. But Revelation is an especially amazing book, and if you haven't gone through it, you ought to. Incredible. But folks, I'm thankful for the apostles. I'm thankful for the work that they did, the martyrdom that they suffered. And I'm thankful for the faith that they had in Jesus Christ, having walked with him, having talked with him, having spent the time with him and being mentored by him. Their faith was amazing. I hope that helps. Hope that answers the question. Interesting question. Folks, don't forget, you are blessed. So go and be a blessing.